So in this video, we're going to work on the details page and the settings page. Now the details is going to be the same whether we click this one or, whoops, not that, or if we click on categories, details, users details. They're all going to go to a post details page. I'm not going to make a separate details page for each resource because that would be very redundant, and we've already done some stuff that's pretty redundant. Stuff that it's just typing. It's the same thing. It's just different content basically. So let's work on that. So we'll open up our VS Code and let's create a new file, and let's call this details.html. And what I'm going to copy is let's see, what do we want to copy here? Let's copy the index because we're going to have some action buttons up at the top and stuff. So we'll copy index and we'll paste that in details. We're also going to use the WYSIWYG editor, the CK editor, so we can keep that. It's basically going to be like a form, like if you were to say details, and it'll show us the content of the post inside the forms, or inside the form inputs. So we'll go up to the top. Let's remove the active from the dashboard. Since details is not a navigation link, then obviously we're not going to have an active class on any of these. So let's go down to the header, and we'll just say that this is the details for the post one post. And we're actually not going to have an icon for the details page. So we'll get rid of that. And let's move down to the actions. So here we're going to have a back to dashboard button. And let's see, for the icon here, let's say arrow dash, not plus, arrow left, FA arrow left. It's not going to be a modal, so we can get rid of these two attributes here. We can, let's see, we also want, so it's an A tag. Let's make this a light button, so button light, and we'll keep button block. Okay, and then the next one here is going to be the save changes. So save changes. We'll change the icon to a check. No modal stuff, so we'll get rid of that. We'll keep the success color. And I think that's it. So for this last button here, this is going to be to delete the post. So delete post. And this naturally will be a danger button, so this will be a red button. Get rid of the modal stuff. And then for the icon, let's do FA trash. Okay. Now, let's see, for the section here, I'm trying to think if we should just, yeah, you know what we'll do is we'll say post, or actually we'll do details. And we'll give it an ID of details. We want the container, we want the row, but we don't want the call MD9 or the MD3. So I'm going to get rid of the whole MD9. This ends, actually let's just click on the row where the row ends, which is way down here. So I'm going to get everything in the row and get rid of it. And then we're just going to have one column. Okay, so inside here will be a card. So let's do a class of card. Let's do a card header. And let's do an H4 inside here. And we'll just say edit post. Okay, so under the card header, let's put our card body. And inside here, we'll have a form. And this form is basically going to be the same thing that we have in our modal on the home page. So I'm going to go to index, and I'm going to go down to the post modal. So this right here. And I don't want any of the modal stuff. I just want the form. So everything that's inside the form tag, I'm going to grab the title, the select, image, the body, all that stuff. So everything in the form, let's grab that, and let's bring that over to our details form. Okay, and that should be good. Now we do want this to be like an edit page, so it should have some content. So let's put a value this is for the title, so we'll say post 1. We can make one of these selected if we want. For the image, we'll just leave that. And then for the body, inside the text area, let's say Lorem 50 tab, just to put some content in there. All right, let's take a look at that. So we'll save. Let's click on details, and it should look like this. So we basically have our back to dashboard, which should work. We want to just make that go to index.html. So let's see, right, where is it? Right here, back to dashboard, should go to index.html. In fact, all of these will just make go to index.html. All right, so back to dashboard, save changes, delete posts. We can edit our post and then save it, and it goes back. Good. All right, so now let's work on the settings page. So we're going to go and create a new file here called settings.html. And this will be very similar to details, so we'll copy the whole details and then go to settings. I'm going to close the rest of these out. So paste that in. For settings, let's see. Settings is just going to be a couple check boxes, like allow user registration, and also whatever we want the home page format. Like in WordPress, you can choose it to be the blog or like a single page, like a regular page. So we're going to do that. So let's go up to the top. There should be no active classes in the nav bar. For the header, what do we want to do here? Let's do settings. And I do want to put an icon here. I'm going to use the cog icon. So let's do i.fas.fa-cog, like that. And we got primary, that's fine. Actions. So actions, we're going to have a back to dashboard. We can actually keep that, and we can keep save changes. However, we don't want the delete post. So we'll get rid of that. And then let's change this to settings. We'll change the ID to settings. Okay, for the it is going to be a card inside of one column. So let's change this H4 to edit settings. Okay, in the card body, in the form, I'm just going to delete everything in the form here. So we're just going to have a couple radio options. So let's do a field set, actually. So we'll say field field set. And I'm going to give this field set a class of form group. Form group. So in here, let's put a legend, and let's say allow user registration. It doesn't really matter what options we put here. It's just for an example. Let's do form check, and we'll do a label with the class of form check label. And we'll just get rid of the for. So the input is actually going to go in the label. So we're going to say input, and this is going to be the type of radio. Okay, it doesn't need a name or an ID. However, it does need a class of form check input. I think there's way too many classes for these check groups, and they don't look much different, or they don't look that great anyways. But I wanted to do something a little different. So let's say the value for this is yes, and let's make this checked by default. This is just standard HTML, and the text will read yes. Okay, and then we're going to just copy this form check div, which should end here, why is that not highlighting? It's kind of weird. Oh, should be a space there. There we go. All right, so we'll copy this. And then this next one is going to be the no value. So I'll change the text to no. And let's change the value to no. And we don't want this to be checked by default, so we'll get rid of that. All right, so that's our first option. Next, we want another field set with a form group. And this one is going to be called homepage format. So let's see here, let's say value equals posts, and we'll change this yes to, we'll say just let's say blog page. So blog page, and then this one here, let's say page for the value, and we'll say home page. And that should do it. So let's save that. Let's take a look. So if we go to welcome Brad or whatever name you put here, and then settings, it's just a simple card with a header with a couple check boxes. So you can choose your values and then save the changes. All right, so pretty simple. In the next video, it should be the last video, we're gonna get to the profile page as well as the login page. Okay, so we're gonna create a little login form as well. So I will see you then.